Hello again. Welcome back for another chess game. Played our opponent several times, 3 times. I've won once, he's won twice. And we get a Sicilian defense. Well, we get an E4 push, and I'm going to choose to play Sicilian defense. Closed Sicilian. Okay. Maybe a Grand Prix. Okay. So opponent's going to launch kingside pawns. I don't really want to give up that piece and deal with a weird pawn structure. So I'm going to attack the bishop. Well, he's going to choose to give me the bishop pair if I want it. Okay. I suppose I'll take it. Take the bishop pair. And then I'm going to drive the knight back. And expand on the queen side, I think. Fianchetto this bishop. I don't want to leave the knight sitting there. Okay. I can take, which is the principled move. Push. Then he pushes and kind of breaks up my center. I don't like that, so I just take. Now I've got a half open C file to work with. He's weakened his F2 square, so this A7 G1 diagonal is going to be weak. If he castles kingside, if he castles queenside, I've got a half open C file to work with. He brings the queen. Okay. We get fianchettoed like I planned. Bring the rook to the C file. And then I have ideas of bishop C5. Maybe after a knight F6, unless he castles into a queen pin. Okay. So now I'm threatening to pin the queen. Just to move the king off where he needs to bring the bishop out. Back Back the queen up, trade bishops. Probably needs to bring the bishop out. If he does, I'm going to develop the knight to come here and try and trade that bishop off. He backs the king off. I think I'll go ahead and develop the knight anyway, because this is a great square for the knight. Double attacking the pawn. Might even be thinking about pushing the b pawn, attacking the knight. And the knight goes somewhere. Here or here. Here or here. And then I've got the rook coming in on c2. Teaming up with my bishop. But I like the knight coming in here, looking at f2 and e3. Then the bishop's coming to c5, and those pieces coordinate nicely. You might be thinking about h3 to keep the knight out. But then I can think about knight h5 and then knight g3. Okay, moves the queen off. So there's no bishop attack on the queen. If I bring the bishop there, he brings his bishop out to counter. Queen protects c2. So b5, b4 push attacking the knight doesn't accomplish what it used to. Although it doesn't defend this pawn now. And I have two attackers on the pawns, so I can attack. He can counterattack. I take, he takes. I take with the queen. That leaves this pawn very lonely. My bishop out, he counters, and I could bring my queen out. Takes, takes. Then I'd have a queen and rook battery on c2, and I could think about pushing b5. This is, yeah, I think this is just a natural square for the bishop. I think that's where it goes. He brings his bishop out to counter. I bring my queen out. Maybe he brings his rook over. Nope, that would hang the bishop. He's got to do something about the bishops. So trades instead of, then queen takes, and then rook over. Castles. Queen back to d4. Queen h5. I'm just going to auto take that back. Just to keep him on the clock and thinking, because I know that if he takes that, I'm gonna take it back with the queen. If he chooses to defend the bishop, I suppose he could do that. He could move a rook over either way and defend the bishop. But then I can bring the knight in and attack it again. Okay, I like my position. I've not got the knight coming to g4 potentially. Maybe swinging the queen over to h5. I've got to keep my eye on this d pawn. If he brings a rook over to attack it, I probably ought to get castled fairly quickly. Think about maybe sacking the pawn for an attack. Hmm. So that's what he does. My knight is defending it at the moment. The queen's leading the charge. I'm just going to get castled. He blocks my queen from getting over here. The knight here. Knight here. pawn here. That blocks the mate, so knight here, queen here. Knight here. Pawn's hanging. Would attack my bishop, but I could trade the bishop off and then fork. He blocks the queen. I fork the rooks. He takes the queen. I take back. He takes the pawn, threatening the bishop. Take the rook. Takes the bishop. Bring my other rook over. Maybe I should have no, taking the knight first would have not been an accurate move because it would have allowed the rook to come out of the fork. Ooh, I think that was a mouse slip. That had to be a mouse slip. Sorry, fella. Because he's just given me his queen now. Um, you, I think that had to be a mouse slip. He had to take the queen. That was the only move. Um, and then I take back, and his rook takes pawn, threatening the bishop. He loses the rook. He gets the bishop for he loses the rook for a bishop and a pawn. He has a decent attack maybe on the back rank here with the rook. I don't know. Don't know. Let's look at the game review. Good game, friend. Opponent did not play it very accurately, but it does look like he kept it fairly even, or I did a good job of giving him back equality. He only had the one blunder, which was the queen, but 66% accuracy. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4 pawn moves out of my first. What move is this? 7. My first 7 moves, 4 of my pawn moves. Moved the knight twice. 1, 2, 3. 3 times I moved the knight. But it's okay because I've got good structure and good activity or good potential for my pieces. And he's created this weakness here, which is standard in the Grand Prix. He shouldn't have moved it off. I bet he probably should have brought his bishop out. That was a little mistake on my part. What's the better move? Best move is attack the knight. I don't know. I like having the bishop on this diagonal. And that was a miss. Shouldn't have brought the queen out. So what do I do here? Just trade pieces? Maybe just attack the bishop? That brings my rook up. What's the plan here? To take? Taking the bishop's best. Because after queen takes b4, attacking the pawn. Okay. But this is an equal position. And this was a miss. Where does he want my knight to go? Let's retry this. The only other idea is the knight can go here or here, and that just looks terrible. So knight here, attacking the pawn. That's a blunder. In the middle. That's doesn't that lose a pawn? Takes. Oh no, it sure doesn't. I should have taken with the bishop though. Takes. No, it doesn't. That's just bad calculation on my part. You. I went to the side, and he blunders, and I find the rook fork, and that is just a clear mouse select. So interesting game. Thanks for watching some chess. Come back and watch some more, and I'll see you next time.